And welcome into Talk Illini, winning version of Talk Illini. Let's be honest, it's winning version every single time here on the Illini recap of these Fighting Illini that get the big W over Texas Tech, 81-77. Hit that like button, subscribe, like the show if you like that Illinois came out on top in this one against the number 11 team in the nation in Texas Tech. It looked bleak, going into the game a little bit with Tomislav Ivisic out, Mihajlo Petrovic still out. You figured you were going to get Andrej Stojaković at some point in this game, and so you felt good about that possibility. He doesn't end up starting, but he comes in later in the game. He was huge. There's just so many positive things to look at with this game, and especially taking down a team that is as good as Texas Tech. I mean, this is going to be a team that contends in the Big 12 this season. They're going to have a lot of success, and getting this win early on, not only does it help resume and the tournament and everything else, it's a great feeling for the fans. Carson, man, you were there, you experienced it. I heard Andrej Stojaković talk about the environment in the post game. We'll get to some of the post game stuff a little bit later on, but your vibes, your reaction to the big win.
Yeah, I'd say the last 3 years, this is the loudest I've heard it at State Farm Center in, like I said, a good 3 years. Especially, we had that run. We were down 7-0 to start the game, and we went on like a 10-0 run and forced an OT or a timeout. And at that point, State Farm Center was so unbelievably loud that I actually had my father, who was filming from the nosebleeds, try to film a video that would pick up sound because my phone wouldn't pick up any sound down on the sideline. And his phone picked up some sound, but he was also high enough up that he still couldn't hear too much. Everything was just blurred together, which, like I said, that's as loud as it's been in years, which is awesome. And it's not a quiet environment normally. It was so much better than it usually is tonight.
Well, you could feel it through the TV and everything. Excuse me, through the TV and everything else, and the broadcast. I felt like did a good job of being able to kind of represent that a little bit. Excuse me. But talk about some of the play on the court for me real fast, Carson. You were right there. You saw it happen. I mean, Andrej Stojaković doesn't start the game. He comes in. He scores 23 points in 26 minutes in this game. You also had Kylan Boswell, 22 points in 39 minutes, and then three different players with 11 points. David Mirkovic, Zvonimir Ivisic, and Keaton Wagler also had 11 points in this game. The freshman, just like 150th best player in the nation, apparently, to the recruiting rankings. I don't know what they're thinking. They're reevaluating themselves after this one. But what do you think about the play on the court?
Yeah, it was really impressive. There were a few things that stood out to me. First off, is the physicality. Like Illinois is, in previous years, we've been a talented team, but certain star players, so certain young players in past years have struggled with the physicality when they go up against these top 15, top 10 teams. In this game, while there were moments for both teams, like both teams looked ready for the moment, and neither team was, outhandled by the other team. Certain players that stood out, David Mirkovic was tough. Brad mentioned in the post game that Zvonimir had a really, really gritty offensive rebound that he got on a putback in the second half of the game. And he said that, that was the kind of elite play that he didn't know that he was capable of that. But now that he does, he's going to ask for more of it in the future. He's going to push his guys to do more with that. In the same way, Andrej Stojaković, one of the critiques of him that some analysts had when he came to Illinois was, would he be able to handle the physicality of the Big Ten? People thought he'd be good, but would he be great? And, through one game of him looking fully healthy, the results speak for themselves. 23 points, 11 to 16 from the field. And it just seemed like he couldn't miss towards the end of the game, especially when they needed a clutch bucket.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, one area where they couldn't hit a shot was three pointers in the second half. Zero 3 pointers in the second half. If you would have told me going into this game that Illinois would shoot less than 70% from the free throw line and they wouldn't hit a single 3 pointer in the second half, I'd be like, oh my gosh, we're cooked. Like this is not working out for us. But this team found multiple different ways to score. They worked together. I mean, Kylan Boswell, like I said, he came in. Kylan Boswell did a great job using ball handling and being able to get to the basket. Andrej Stojaković obviously did that in a fantastic way as well. I think I know what rebound Brad Underwood was talking about when he was talking about that putback, because literally when I saw that putback, I was like, yeah, they're winning. You know, there was just it felt like they had the physicality, they had the desire, and they had the right players in place, even without a Big T, even without a Mihajlo Petrovic. I mean, we're gonna give a lot of praise to Andrej Stojaković in this video, but I think we got to give a lot of praise to Kylan Boswell too, with the way he began the game, giving them all those points to get them back into it. I mean, Texas Tech kind of had a little bit of a lead going out there in front, but Kylan Boswell responded, and you can just tell he's the leader of this team. He's the guy that drives the ship here. And I'll be honest, sometimes I had some concerns with him being the main offensive weapon with how much he does on defense, but tonight it looked really good because him and Andrej Stojaković just work so well together. What were your thoughts on Kylan Boswell and just what he brought to the team tonight?
Yeah, it's kind of what we've seen so far this year, just more consistency. The things that he showed with last year, he was like a 27% shooter from three last year. That's completely fixed. He shot 60% from three tonight. I obviously none in the second half, but 3 for 5 from three, 22 points overall, 50% shooting overall, and 9 of 12 from the free throw line. It's not elite numbers, but you're getting to the line and shooting 12 free throws in a game that's decided by single digit points. That's massive.
Totally. And the way Texas Tech was playing, you had to do that, right? You had to be able to get to the basket and try to get to the free throw line because they were playing so physical and you figured if as long as you got to the basket, you were most likely going to get to the free throw line at some point. So, Carson, you were at the post-game interviews with the players and Brad Underwood. I watched them live. They were kind of breaking up a little bit, unfortunately, so I didn't catch everything, but you were there. So, what were some of the quotes and things that you captured in the post-game talk?
Yeah, I think there were two that stand out. One was with Kylan and Andre. Uh, Somebody had asked if how Kylan played a role in Andre's recruitment last summer, and Kylan straight up said that he was, all in his DMs. The exact quote was, "I harassed Andre as a transfer prospect. I'm really excited he's here. Big shout out to me for making it happen." Great line. Then Andre followed with, "Yeah, I'm glad he harassed me. I'm very grateful for my decision." So both guys is just a fantastic quote. And then
Well,
kind of on a
and I
more
think I didn't Andre at some point say something like this is the most support he's ever had, like talking about the fans and everything too. Like this is the most support, this is the most cheering for him he's ever had with anybody in his career. Did I catch that right?
yeah, absolutely. And you look at his career prior, Cal and Stanford. He's been the best player on both of his teams prior years, but he was asked to do everything for every team. And like we saw tonight, he can do a lot, especially for an offense. And he also did a good job switching on defense and shutting down their number two guy and Christian Anderson. But as a whole, you can't carry a team to 20 plus wins, and the fans aren't going to give you the love for shooting on the off nights 5 of 20 like happened a few times last year. That wasn't necessarily his fault. He has a supporting cast around him where he could be the player he wants to be. And again, so far the results are yielding just great numbers.
For sure. I'm trying not to get too excited, but admittedly, I'm very excited tonight, as I think all Illinois fans should be. Okay, what was the second quote you got?
Yeah, this one actually came from On Three's Doug Bouchon. Shout out to our guy Doug. He asked, let me pull it up here. He asked Coach Underwood, Brad, is there any satisfaction in the outside world now seeing what the staff saw in Keaton Wagler, despite the rankings? And he was ranked by On Three 253rd overall, his
Wow.
final class ranking. And I don't know if we're allowed to swear in here, but Coach said,
Go
not
for it.
really.
Who cares?
Okay. Yeah. Coach said, not really. We knew what we were getting. I don't give two shits what the outside world thinks. Brad isn't one to mince words, especially when he knows he's right. When you know you've hit a home run like Keaton Wagler, he doesn't use profanity a ton, but when he does, in press anyways, when he does though, it usually gets the point home.
Well, that I mean, not to praise profanity too much, but I enjoy a good coach who uses it at the right time because when he does use it, he means business. Yeah, Keaton Wagler tonight, man, he was the leading rebounder for this team. I guess he was tied with Zvonimir Ivisic, but 7 rebounds in this game. I believe 5 of those were offensive rebounds, if I remember that correctly. Like Keaton Wagler was huge for this team. He didn't have the best shooting night. He was 3 for 9 from the field and 0 for 3 from the 3 point land. But I mean, for him to come in there, just a freshman, an 18-year-old, to come into a game like this, for him to play as many minutes as he did, go in there, get the rebounds on the offensive end. I mean, he played 35 minutes in this game. We're talking about Andrej Stojaković. He played 26 minutes in this one. To be willing to put that kind of weight on a freshman's back, like I we talked about freshmen at the beginning of the season. We in our one episode, and I was like, I don't know, like who knows if we're actually going to see freshmen that much. Turns out Brad does not care at all if he's a freshman because he's going to be out there into the game, beginning of the game, pretty much all game. I mean, what were your reactions to Keaton Wagler?
Yeah, the kid's a stud. I mean, end of the day, I saw a graphic from On3 the other day. I tweeted about it. They had like the 10 top freshmen in college basketball, and 8 of these guys were 5 stars. There's one kid that was like a top 40 recruit, not quite a 5 star. And then there's Keaton Wagler, the outlier. When you've hit a home run on an eval, sometimes you just got to enjoy it. I mean, and also, we still don't know what it's going to look like once Mahalo Petrovic comes back because, I think at this point, Kylan Boswell has secured himself that primary point guard role. And then we're going to have Keaton kind of running, off ball too, occasional point guard reps. And then Mahalo is a pure point too, but he might have to play off ball as well when he's on the floor with Kylan because Kylan has been so effective when the ball's been in his hands. And so, do I think we're going to run Keaton 35 minutes a game the rest of the season? Not right now, but also, if he continues to play like he has the last 2 to 3 games, we might have to. I mean, at the end of the day, the talent's going to play, and the kid is, far outplayed his ranking already. And if he continues to do so, it's going to be a different discussion 3, 4 months from now.
Well, and Sonny talked about it in that kind of preview to the season when we were talking about the starting lineup and stuff. And you guys were like, I wouldn't be surprised if Mahalo Petrovic doesn't start this season and they just go with like a Kylan Boswell and a Keaton Wagler. And I wasn't really having it. I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like when Petrovic gets healthy, they're gonna go with him. It wasn't necessarily me doubting Keaton Wagler. It was just like, you know, when you're a freshman, there's certain weight that comes with it, but he doesn't play like a freshman out there at all. Even when the shots weren't falling for him, he was still playing confident. He was still getting back on defense. Just so much to love from this game and what the team was able to do. I think the biggest thing for me, after all the other stuff and the big stuff, Kylan and Andre and everything else, and the blocks from Zvonimir, it's just the depth of this team and how refreshing it is that this season, if somebody goes down, I mean, we got two great players down right now. We think Petrovic, but I'm sure when we see him, we'll think that too. But we got two really good players that are down right now. Last year, if that happened, I mean, Carson, you were covering the team last year too. Like it was not a great situation. But what's that mean to you? Just have the confidence and the depth of this team. Like if a guy goes down, it's not like good news, but it's also not dire news like it was last year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is just versatility, right? Last year, we were kind of pigeonholed with what we could run, and we lived and died by the three ball. And this year, we're seeing we have guys that could drive, we have guys that can shoot. Everybody seems to be able to pass, which is, a rarity. But it just opens up the offense so much more than it used to. This is a team where, if they lose another top guy or two, like, yeah, you don't feel great about it. They might lose some games, but this is a team where if they're 75% healthy, they're going to win a lot of games. And if they're 100% healthy, which we haven't seen yet, they can be terrifyingly good. I mean, getting Tomislav back and timeline I've heard right now floated out is 3 to 6 weeks. We'll see if that is what actually happens, but for now, that's what I've heard. Brad did say he for sure will not be playing Friday, but yeah, I mean, like I said, they're so versatile. They're going to win a lot of games, and they have depth too. Shout out to Jason Joxtis. He got in like at the 5 minutes into the game today. Didn't log any stats, but he got in and didn't look out of place. Which again, that's another spot where we weren't sure if we had a third big. Looks like we might.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love it. I love it. All right. Last thing here, Carson, and then we'll get out of here on this one. The team in the first half. I mean, they looked like a Final Four caliber team. I'm not saying the second half wasn't good or anything. The second half, they held off Texas Tech. I mean, Texas Tech was at one point shooting like 60% from the field. I think like halfway through the second half there. But there in the first half, they looked like a Final Four team to me. This looked like a team that can go on and win the national championship. And when you think you have two good players that are out right now, on top of that, and the way you responded in the second half when maybe not everything was going your way, is it is it too crazy to get excited about maybe a deep run of the tournament, maybe a Final Four type of team? What are your thoughts?
I mean, Ken Palm has Illinois ranked what right now? Two, three? I
Yeah,
I
two or
believe it
three.
was
Yeah,
three. Yeah. So if Ken Palm thinks that they're a top four team, it's Final Four. You have to get lucky. Some things have to go your way in the tournament, but the standard that we've judged Illinois by the last 4 or 5 years has been: are they a Sweet 16 team? Can they get out of that first weekend? I would be stunned if this team doesn't get out of the first weekend this year. And I think that's a solid step. And then can they make it out of the second weekend? If they get that far, then we're talking about a team that's, truly special by Illinois standards. And I think right now, I think that's a legit possibility.
I agree. I agree. Put the blame on Ken Palm if it doesn't work out. So I like that. I like that. All right. Hey, thank you so much for watching Talk Illini. Remember, please do like, subscribe, do all that good stuff for us, and check out Orange and Blue News over at the On Three Network. Carson covering recruiting, all the other good stuff over there, and Doug covering the team and everything else. You can find all you need on Illinois athletics over there at Doug. Orange and Blue News. I guess it could be Doug and Blue News as well. The Orange and Blue News with On Three. Carson, anything else before we get out of here?
No, no. ILO.
I and I. There we go. See you, everybody. Have a good one.